Togo Team Bus Ambush. Just 2 days before the 2010 Africa Cup of Nations was to begin, the Togolese national team bus rolled past the Congo border into the Angolan enclave of Cabinda and into a hail of gunfire. Togo's team was on a convoy headed to their group stage matches in Cabinda, a region torn by rebel conflict. The players and staff were eager but wary. Gunmen from the Front for the Liberation of the Enclave of Cabinda, FLEC-PM, lay in wait under the overhead sun. Around noon on January 8th, the bus came under sudden attack. Automatic rifle bursts shattered the quiet. Bullets tore through the windows and panels. The bus driver, Mario Ajua, assistant coach Amelete Abalo, and team media officer Stanislas Oklu were killed on the spot. Several others were wounded, and the players were left shaken, ducking blood and debris as they tried to escape the burning wreck. The slaughter shocked Africa. In immediate chaos, Togo's players abandoned their games and returned home under heavy escort. The Togolese government declared days of national mourning and ordered the team to quit the tournament. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, officially disqualified Togo from AFCON. Captain Emmanuel Adebayor later revealed he was haunted by the events and even temporarily quit international duty. Governments and soccer bodies condemned the violence. Angola's leaders labeled it an act of terrorism and scrambled extra security for the remaining matches. The attack forced CAF to re-examine safety for teams. Angolan authorities moved some games out of Cabinda and boosted stadium security ahead of the resumed tournament. The horror of that day became a cautionary tale. Clubs and federations now routinely warn African teams against traveling through conflict zones, and AFCON hosts have since emphasized tighter convoy protection for visiting squads. Zambia national team plane crash. Late in the evening of April 27, 1993, thunder clapped over the Atlantic as Zambia's national football team took flight, only to vanish beneath the waves minutes later. The Zambian Chipolopolo, Copper Bullets, were a talented squad on their way to the 1994 World Cup qualifiers, also eyeing the upcoming AFCON. Most of the team had just refueled in Libreville, Gabon, on their journey to Dakar. The aircraft, a Zambian Air Force DHC-5 Buffalo, was an aging transport plane carrying 25 players and 5 crew. Seconds after takeoff from Libreville's runway, an engine fire broke out. In confusion, the pilot accidentally shut down the wrong engine. The plane lost all power and plummeted into the ocean about 500 meters offshore. There were no survivors. All 30 aboard, 18 players plus coaching staff and crew, were killed instantly. The sea swallowed Zambia's hopes and dreams. Zambia fell into profound mourning. Schools closed and the government declared a week of national grief. 24 bodies were recovered and honored. They were interred at a newly dedicated Heroes Acre by Lusaka's national stadium. In a brave turnaround, Zambia quickly assembled a new team and soldiered on in the 1994 AAFCON in Tunisia, reaching the final against Nigeria before losing in extra time. 2 decades later, Zambia achieved a kind of redemption. In 2012, the Reform Squad won the Africa Cup of Nations in Libreville, a few hundred meters from the crash site, dedicating that victory to the fallen heroes. The tragedy left a lasting legacy. Zambia built a national hero stadium as a living memorial, and the crash remains a defining moment in African football lore. It also spurred better flight safety protocols for teams traveling in Africa. To this day, the nation remembers April 27th as a day of sacrifice, and celebrates the spirit of unity that eventually led the new Chipolopolo to AFCON glory in honor of their lost comrades. Marc Vivien Foy collapses. Under the bright floodlights of Lyon on June 26, 2003, Cameroon's captain suddenly buckled and fell on the pitch, a superstar silenced in an instant. Marc Vivien Foy was Cameroon's powerful midfield engine and a 2-time African Player of the Year. He was in peak form, playing for Lyon on loan from Manchester City, and leading Les Lions Indomptables at the FIFA Confederations Cup in France. In a tense semi-final against Colombia, Foy wore his iconic number 17 jersey and commanded the midfield with force and grace. Early in the second half, around the 73rd minute, Foy grabbed his chest and collapsed alone near the center circle. Medics sprinted onto the field as he lay motionless, but despite frantic attempts at resuscitation, he never regained consciousness. He was rushed to a hospital, but news soon came. Cameroon's leader had died of a heart condition on the field. The stadium fell silent in disbelief as teammates and fans realized a great life had vanished in seconds. The football world plunged into grief. Tributes poured in from across Africa and beyond. Cameroonian officials and fans held memorials, and Lyon held a minute of silence. Olympique Lyonnais retired Foy's jersey, and Manchester City and RC Lens, his former clubs, also honored his memory by retiring his numbers. An autopsy later revealed he had an undetected heart defect, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. His family set up the Marc Vivien Foy Foundation to help children in Cameroon. Foy was posthumously awarded Cameroon's highest national honor, and his death became one of the most famous football tragedies in history. Foy's sudden death was a watershed moment for player health. His passing prompted increased awareness and research into cardiac health in professional footballers.